There is a country in the middle of Europe where soldiers still train every year. Almost every adult man can serve in the military. Thousands of underground bunkers are hidden beneath its mountains. Powerful fighter jets patrol its skies. Modern tanks wait inside secure military bases. The country spends billions on its national defense, yet it hasn't fought an international war in more than 2 centuries. How is that possible? The answer begins long before modern Europe existed. It begins in the heart of the Alps. Hundreds of years ago, the land that is now Switzerland was not a single country. It was a collection of small mountain communities. Life there was difficult. The mountains protected the people, but they also isolated them. Travel was slow. Farming was hard. Every valley had to survive on its own. In 1291, 3 small communities formed an alliance for mutual protection. They promised to defend each other against outside threats. That agreement became known as the Federal Charter. Historians often consider it the beginning of the Swiss Confederation. Over time, more regions joined the alliance. Together, they became stronger. Swiss soldiers earned a reputation across Europe. They were disciplined, highly trained, and feared on the battlefield. For centuries, Swiss mercenaries fought in wars for foreign kings and rulers. Their military skill became famous throughout Europe, but that reputation came at a cost. Thousands of Swiss soldiers died fighting wars that were not their own. Then came one battle that changed everything. In 1515, Swiss forces fought the Battle of Marignano in northern Italy. They were defeated by French forces. The loss forced Swiss leaders to rethink their future. Instead of expanding through war, they gradually turned toward neutrality. It was not a single decision. It was a long political shift that continued over many generations. Europe, however, was becoming even more dangerous. Kingdoms rose and fell. Empires expanded. Wars spread across the continent. Remaining independent would become Switzerland's greatest challenge. Then came the wars that reshaped Europe. The Napoleonic Wars swept across the continent. Even Switzerland could not completely avoid the conflict. French forces invaded in 1798. The old Swiss Confederation collapsed. A new government was imposed. For years, Switzerland lost much of its independence, but Napoleon's empire eventually fell. Europe's leaders gathered to rebuild the continent. In 1815, representatives from the major powers met at the Congress of Vienna. They wanted stability, they wanted balance, and they wanted to prevent another continent-wide war. During those negotiations, Switzerland received something extraordinary. The great powers officially recognized its permanent neutrality. That decision changed Swiss history forever. Neutrality meant Switzerland would not take sides in international wars. It also meant other countries agreed to respect that neutrality. But neutrality did not mean weakness. Swiss leaders understood something important. A neutral country survives only if it can defend itself. So Switzerland strengthened its military instead of abandoning it. Military service became part of national life. Most Swiss men served in the armed forces. Many kept their military equipment after training. Weapons could be stored close to home for rapid mobilization. Across the country, defensive positions were carefully planned. Bridges could be destroyed if an invasion began. Roads could be blocked. Mountain passes could be sealed. Hidden bunkers appeared deep inside the Alps. Entire fortresses were carved into solid rock. Some were almost impossible to see from the outside. The mountains themselves became part of Switzerland's defense. Invading the country would never be easy. Potential enemies knew the cost would be enormous. That was exactly the point. Switzerland hoped no one would ever attack, because everyone knew they would fight if they had to. Its strategy became simple. Remain neutral. Stay prepared. Make invasion too expensive to attempt. That strategy would soon face its greatest test. The 20th century was approaching, and Europe was moving toward 2 of the deadliest wars in human history. In 1914, the First World War began. Much of Europe was pulled into the fighting. Neighbor fought neighbor. Entire cities were destroyed. Millions of soldiers never returned home. Switzerland stood in the middle of it all, yet it remained neutral. The Swiss army was fully mobilized. Hundreds of thousands of soldiers guarded the borders, not because Switzerland planned to invade, but because it expected someone else might. No invasion came. The war ended, but peace did not last. Only 21 years later, another conflict erupted. In 1939, the Second World War began. This time, the danger was even greater. Switzerland was surrounded by countries controlled or occupied by Nazi Germany and Fascist Italy. Many believed invasion was only a matter of time. The Swiss government prepared for the worst. General Henri Guisan gathered Switzerland's military commanders. He introduced a strategy called the National Redoubt. The plan was simple. If enemy forces entered the country, the army would withdraw into the Alps. Bridges would be destroyed. Railway tunnels would be blocked. Mountain fortresses would continue fighting. An invading army would face a long and costly campaign. Again, the goal was not victory through conquest. The goal was to make invasion too expensive. Switzerland also strengthened its air defenses. Its fighter pilots defended Swiss airspace. On several occasions, Swiss aircraft intercepted and engaged military planes that violated its borders. Neutrality did not mean allowing foreign armies to do whatever they wanted. The country defended its territory, but it avoided joining either side. At the same time, Switzerland faced difficult moral choices. It accepted many refugees escaping the war. Others were turned away. Its banks continued doing business throughout the conflict. Those decisions remain the subject of historical debate. When the Second World War ended in 1945, much of Europe lay in ruins. Switzerland remained physically intact. Its cities still stood. Its industries continued operating. Its policy of armed neutrality had survived the greatest conflict in modern history. But the world was about to change again. A new global rivalry was beginning. After 1945, the Cold War divided the world. The United States and the Soviet Union became rival superpowers. Many countries joined military alliances. Switzerland chose a different path. It remained neutral, but it never stopped preparing. Military training continued. Underground shelters expanded across the country. Today, Switzerland has one of the largest networks of civilian shelters in the world. For decades, new buildings were required to include protected shelter space or contribute to public shelters under Swiss civil protection policy. The country continued investing in its armed forces, not to wage war, but to discourage it. Swiss neutrality also helped make the country a place for diplomacy. Cities like Geneva hosted international organizations and peace negotiations. Representatives from rival nations could meet on neutral ground. That role strengthened Switzerland's position in world affairs. Neutrality, however, has never meant complete isolation. Switzerland works with many countries. It trades with the world. It participates in international humanitarian efforts, and it has adopted sanctions in some situations, showing that neutrality continues to evolve within Swiss foreign policy. So why has Switzerland avoided war for more than 2 centuries? Because geography gave it natural protection. History taught painful lessons. Strong defenses discouraged invasion, and neutrality became part of its national identity. Could the strategy work forever? No one knows. The world continues to change. New threats appear. Technology transforms warfare. Politics reshapes alliances. Yet one lesson has remained remarkably consistent. Peace is rarely protected by hope alone. It is protected by preparation, diplomacy, and difficult choices made over generations. Switzerland's greatest victory may not be a battle it won. It may be the wars it never had to fight.